another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P-Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Oh, man, that Bears win, they snuck by, man. That was, for the previous week with all those blocked field goals, Bears couldn't catch a break and do. I know they had a good win against the Cowboys, but Bears decided to save it till this past week, man, to get their nice blocked field goal and kind of keep in line with the NFL trend the last couple weeks. But, an interesting week of football. Unfortunately, a lot of injuries. Malik Neighbors had to move him to IR in Dynasty. Very sad day. Still waiting on the Bucky Irving MRI, man. They're got everybody out on a rope right now waiting for some sort of tweet from Adam Schefter. But, another good fantasy week. Pretty much cleaned the slate. 4-0. Got another 150 piece. 148. Sorry about that. Zoo, you actually had a high-scoring week, man. Just ran up to a harder opponent, man. That's tough.
Yeah, when someone drops 156, all you got to do is put your hands up and say, good job. Good job. And I had Brian Thomas Jr., so having that guy is a sin right now in fantasy football right now. But, this was a rough week. Not going to last couple of weeks, a couple of 3-1 weeks this week, 1-3. Oof, just brutal. And even that's with Georgia the Jungle cooking, too, because, Pickens, man, he's the red zone dude. That's one thing I know this guy's a touchdown guy. Like, Dak really likes him in the red zone. He's really showing out with CeeDee Lamb out, but yeah, a lot of great great games this past weekend. Lots of weird kicking stuff again. Like, it's just special teams been showing out this year. That's all I got to say. Special teams have been showing.
Yeah, man. We're going to be talking about fantasy a little later with a couple of dudes, but I think a lot of people who took chances on someone like we were talking before the pod, Christian McCaffrey or Devon A-Chain, you have them guys on your team. You might be sitting in a situation, especially now with the Tyreek injury. If you're an A-Chain holder, it's like, man, they're going to be relying on A-Chain to get them touches out the backfield, maybe some go balls, some slants, things of that nature. And then with McCaffrey, it's just nobody's ever questioned his talent. But, injuries have always been kind of a thing with him. So with him being healthy right now, you're probably in a good spot if you have both of those guys or one of those guys on your team. So fantasy is off to a roaring start for me as well. But kind of wanted to get into a topic about two teams that I guess you would say before the season they had some questions, especially at the quarterback position. But, the Indianapolis Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers both are 3-1. And I wanted to pose to the guys, which team do you think would end up winning their division? And people, you can get the first stab at this.
I hate to say this, but I think both teams might win the division, man. I mean,
easily, too.
I mean, to start, on the Colts side, they obviously have probably about half the division. Putting it by the wayside, I know a lot of us maybe had the Texans at the beginning of the year. Zoo, I know you were into the Jags. Could end up being a solid pick. They're also 3-1. I could also say that very fluky 3-1. Very hard to get a read on that team, and I think that's why with the Colts, I'm pretty confident they're going to win it. It's really just like
confident.
Pretty. I mean, Texans 1-3 and do not look good. I mean, congratulations.
They beat the Titans. Yeah, everything's beating the Titans.
And most of it was field goals, man. I mean,
That was the thing. Like, you expect them to get touchdowns? No, it's just a kicking show.
I literally picked Nico Collins last week, and he gets 4 for 80. Brutal. So shout out Woody Marks, though. He's looking really nice. That was a good dynasty pickup on my end. I got to tap myself on the back for that. But, I mean, Jaguars, their defense looks legit. I think that is something we have to keep in mind.
It's crazy to say.
It is crazy to say. It hasn't been a while. I mean, but remember, that is also how they almost made it to the Super Bowl at one point, was with their defense, with that Jalen Ramsey backed and the other Josh Allen, if I remember correctly, at the linebacker position. But the other dude has been Travis Etienne, man. And I know we're going to talk about Brian
back
a little bit later, but he is the true weapon on this offense. You could argue Brenton Strange has also looked pretty solid as well, funny enough, getting better target share than Brian Thomas Jr., man. But I think on the Steelers side, looking at that division, you got the Bengals. We were just talking pre-production. If they get a decent average, even slightly below average veteran quarterback in there, they could hold out long enough till December when Joe might be able to return. And if they're around a 500 mark at that point, I bet he plays. Because, they almost made the playoffs last year being just one game above 500. It is possible again, especially with all the injuries that are flying around. within that division, looking at Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, and not just him, the whole defense is hurt, man. Roquan Smith got hurt, a couple other guys as well going out this past game. They looked almost as bad as the Bengals did in the game last night. They just almost gave up in the game against the Chiefs on Sunday. So, looking at that, I mean, he's out, 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks at most.
3 weeks. Yeah.
That's huge, man. They're 1-3. I mean, I think their bye week might be within that, so that does save them. That does save them a week there. But at the same time, it's like that's no easy cakewalk. They could easily. I don't want to say easily. They do have the Texans on.
That's a must win.
It is a must win. And the thing is, the Texans defense is pretty good. So we're gonna have to see a Derrick Henry show, and they're gonna stack the box the whole
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. I'm sorry. No, absolutely not. That's Jake Browning level right there. And but hopefully, maybe they're able to turn it around just for the competitiveness of the AFC. But and then you got the Browns. So the Steelers, man, 3-1. Their running game looks good. I know Jaylen Warren was a late scratch in the Dublin game. It didn't matter.
Yeah, man.
Nemo came in and dropped 33 on my bench, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
And then DK Metcalf, I benched both of them because they're playing the Vikings. I'm like, one of the best defenses in the league. They shut everybody down. No, these guys got dropped damn near 50 on the bench for me, man. And the connection with Metcalf looks good. They ran his patented touchdown route, just a deep slant, and he just breaks it off. And Rodgers has been one of the best in the game over his entire career at throwing that quick slant ball, whether it be Jordy Nelson, whether it be Devontae Adams. Now we're seeing it with DK Metcalf. And this defense, they're always going to be there. And, Sean, you're the biggest proponent of Mike Tomlin on this podcast, one of the best coaches in the league. He will at least get you 500. And when he has a good team, expect at least 11 wins, man. So I think I am a little bit more confident in the Steelers over the Colts. I'd say I have them both winning the division, but I think who could make a bigger impact throughout the playoffs, maybe a more decisive division win. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think they're just more well-rounded team with a savvier quarterback in Aaron Rodgers if he can stay healthy. So I really liking what they're putting together in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Pittsburgh's definitely – their offense looks pretty nice, actually. Like, the offense does look better than I thought. Like, obviously, Aaron Rodgers was the QB upgrade that everyone believed it was, and he's been playing relatively well for a guy in his this is his last year. Like, this is his finale year. I'm like, it looks like if he plays like this, he could probably play for another year, definitely, if he plays at this level, because he's playing definitely at an average level starting quarterback right now. So him in connection with DK Metcalf and those guys over there. So, like, shout out to the Steelers for being a legit team now, and you got to take advantage of injuries right now in these situations, because injury to a quarterback, like, I don't think anybody saw that the Baltimore Ravens are not going to win the division. I think that was one of the locks that everyone had, was Baltimore going back, like, easy lock, especially in that division, especially after Joe Burrow's injury. I'm like, that was a easy lock, but now they might not make the playoffs, which is a crazy thing to say right now, because it's a 1-3 team. It's a 1-3 team with their entire defense completely shattered right now. So, like, everybody could score on that team. So, as you mentioned, Ryan, the Steelers right now, I think I'm going to go with the Steelers right now in that division. It's just injuries galore. Like, obviously, we love the quarterback, but they're all injured right now. Joey B, Lamar Jackson, we don't know how, like hammies linger. And as a guy that relies on his ability to rush and run the football, that's gonna inhibit that. And as much as I love the King right now, King Henry's got a little mental fumbling issues right now, and mentally, you see the frustration in his head and his ability to big plays right now. Very, very different from last year. Last year he had that confidence and he was close to 2,000 rushing yards right now. But this year, like, you start off strong, but the fumbling is a massive, massive issue, and you just see the frustration on the sidelines, seeing like this issue right now, and they know it's an issue, and sometimes it's just a mental thing where sometimes it just gets in your head and you're focused on it, but you just keep making that mistake over and over and over because it's a mental thing that you can't get over on. And since you're going to have to rely on him more, like, this guy's going to get the ball more in his hands, and the entire defense is going to be focused on him. And if he fumbles again, what do you go with Justice Hill? Like, even though Justice
he kind of turned up.
He got 2 touchdowns. That 170-yard, I was like, whoa, that was some juice right there. Because, like, not gonna lie, when I watch Justice Hill, he's a very capable backup. Like, he's really, really fast. Every time on third downs, he just looks like a really good pass catching back. Every time he's in the game, he just looks like a really competent backup. He doesn't look like a scrub. Like
To be fair, though, he had 76 rushing yards. 71 of that was on the touchdown. So, I mean, he's not, come on.
That was the key, though. Like,
he's a different type of back.
It wasn't like kind of an accident. Like, you needed the speed to be able to finish that play. And as a
Sproles.
Exactly. He's in that prototype right now. It's like the perfect compliment to King Henry because King Henry doesn't really do that. But yeah, over reliance on him. Like if this guy's going to get 20, 25 carries and mentally he's not 100% there right now without his QB right now, creating rushing lanes for him. As you mentioned, the box going to be scary. And right now, like the Steelers are in full control. And should we even be surprised? Like I think all of us have defaulted like this team's going to be 500. If Aaron Rodgers plays above expectations, this might be a 10-11 win team. And right now with the injuries right now, that division – it's just kind of desolate because we all had pretty high expectations for it to be a very competitive division, but the Ravens at 1-3. Like, do you guys still remember that Buffalo Bills game 1 when it was an ass whooping? Like it was a statement game, and after blowing that, just kind of the wheels kind of just fell off. Yeah, because like doing that to a championship contender, and look, wow, they're back for revenge. Like this is like a revenge season after coming up short last year. And to blow that and then just mentally right now, and he's mentioned this past game, they kind of just mentally like checked out. Like the Chiefs offense has not been that great this year, and they put on an absolute show.
That's the thing that made their defense. I think their defense is not. I didn't know their defense was going to be that bad. I don't think anybody did.
No.
I think with the Ravens, it might be
lost. Mike
if McDonald. It really does get to a point where if they don't make the playoffs, Harbaugh might have to, because it's just like sometimes you just need a. I know he's a hardball, but he's not his brother, and it's kind of like, man, dude, you've been there forever. I know you was Flacco Super Bowl, but like sometimes you might just need a new, fresh start because it does feel like the bugaboo of like can't get over the hump. Now you're injured. We'll see what somebody else.
But they better make the playoffs. Like you better make it at least in the wild card right now because like if you miss the playoffs, especially if Lamar comes back in 3 weeks, you still got to make the playoffs just based on your expectations coming in the year of being a Super Bowl championship contender. Yeah. And as far as the Colts, man, the Colts almost got it done this past week.
They should have won.
They almost did, yeah.
There were a couple of drops. There were 2 drops. Like
Aiden Mitchell.
Yeah, Aiden Mitchell, obviously that's it, that the fumbling thing, and then JT. Like they were close.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I give you that. But Danny Dimes did throw a couple picks and like made some situations a little harder than they're supposed to, but it took a Herculean effort from Stafford and Puka Nacua. Oh my, this dude, we got to start having conversations about this guy because the only thing limiting this guy's like, oh, he was a late round pick. So we just have that mental thing in our head. Like he wasn't like a blue chipper first round receiver. But the minute this dude come in, I'm like, this guy has some of the best hands in the NFL. Like I never see this guy drop. This guy, and he's one of the most physical receivers. He's one of those guys that gets consistent double-digit targets, and he catches a bunch of balls, got into the end zone. But this guy, like Matthew Stafford found his Cooper Kupp replacement, man. Like, cause this is like he's playing at an elite level where you can make a conversation that he should be in that Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase tier because
I think he's already there.
Like the production this guy is doing is Hall of Fame-esque right now this start.
Which he could go 1-on-1 next year in a PPR league.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like this dude is productive regardless of touchdown scenarios because this guy just catches 10-plus balls and gets 100 yards every single game. And with this offense where it's a Stafford offense and Devontae Adams, he is the red zone target. Like we knew Devontae Adams, but he's even more than a red zone target than I thought going this season. But Puka Nacua doesn't even need to be the red zone guy, and this guy is producing at a level where I'm like, this production is actually unbelievable. Like the only thing with him is like his physicality can get injured, but my God, like what he's doing right now.
And the Colts almost beat him.
The Colts almost beat them because, like, yeah, as you mentioned, this division is a weak division. And even though, as you mentioned, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're 3-1, but just watching, especially on offense, the offense is just one of the worst offenses in the NFL. A lot has to be with Trevor Lawrence. A lot has to be the receivers dropping passes and not looking confident. As you mentioned, ETN is probably their best weapon right now. Like he looks completely healthy, and he's got that speed. Like that's the thing. He's got that speed that he was lacking last year. as being effective making big plays, but the receiving weapons this year haven't been effective. But the defense of the Jaguars forcing so many turnovers and forcing the action where offense, you guys just got to score us like 20 points and we can get it done, because the defense right now has been the biggest shocking thing this year. Like, they allowed only 72 points all year, points against right now. 72 points. That is extremely, extremely impressive of the defense forcing multiple turnovers in situations where sometimes they just get Trevor Lawrence like, we're giving you the ball right here. Let's just get us a touchdown. But my God, Trevor Lawrence, I'm so out on this guy. Like, Brian Thomas Jr., I'm flabbergasted. I am just flabbergasted by the production, and what he did last year as a rookie was historically great. Like, for this guy, for like he had quarterback really, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, like backup quarterbacks and producing. And this year, like, I'm still in shock of how unproductive he is this year, even though it's still a small sample size. So I haven't given up in the season yet. But this start is embarrassing. Like Brenton Strange, and like, I'm like, what is?
It's more than a sophomore slump.
So,
yeah,
it's more than that.
Oh my Lord. I don't know what is going on about that situation.
Yeah, I just can't see the Jaguars winning that division.
I can't either. I picked them in the beginning of the year as my sleeper because I didn't really like anyone in that division, but Colts, based on the resume, so far are the best team.
I think it's just hard to pick between the two, Sean. I think we all think they probably will win the division, but it's like, if you put these two teams up against each other, I don't know if they play each other this year. That's actually a very even matchup, in my opinion, because the Colts defense is pretty legit too.
Really good. Really good.
I think Liam Cohen, if I had to just because of the resurgence of ETN, even though Thomas is struggling and it's still early, but
Travis.
I just think with that resurgence, I would probably, if I looked at that matchup, I probably would maybe lean a little bit more him, because I know what I'm getting with Jonathan Taylor. Daniel Jones, I am super high on as well, but I think his coaching ability, I think he might be a tick better than Steichen play calling wise, and I think he might be able to draw some stuff up to where I'd say it's probably Trevor Lawrence, whatever proof, like he would be able to get some plays drawn up to where I think they would edge him out. But that could definitely be a evenly line, probably like 1.5, 2.5 maybe. But I'm with you guys. Clean sweep, Pittsburgh Steelers. It just kind of, if you're just looking at it from a like bird's eye view of like the NFL at large, we just got it. Most of us do have this in our mind, but we're like, I don't know, man. Steelers, like, 8-8, 7-8, 9-8. Like, I don't know, man. This shit. We do this every year, and it's they need to be part of the discussion. I don't know what franchise you would put in this box, but like you just don't ever need to worry about them, because how the universe goes in the NFL universe, so to speak of it, like they just are always going to be fine. Like, their defense now could be wrong 5 years from now, but like, as long as Mike Tomlin's there, like, their defense is just always going to be good. It's not going to be like first in the league or like 32nd. Like, there's not going to be extremes with them. They're going to be a good middle of the pack defense and probably trending towards the above average side. So for me, I always knew that was going to be fine. And then, of course, the wild card is Aaron Rodgers. But then I honestly forgot Gainwell was on the team. So then when I'm looking at that and saying, hey, well, I got questions about Rodgers, I think DK is great, but I got a question about Rodgers. And the thing that would help Rodgers most is if he has a competent run game. Well, Gainwell comes in. Warren's been doing well, but like Gainwell comes in and just picks up right where Warren started off. So for me, it's like I look at every facet of the Steelers, and there's not any part of their roster where I'm like, that could be a little bit better. Because even with DK, like Calvin Austin is a do-it-all slot, can get on a go ball. Like, he can do whatever he wants. So they got two bona fide weapons. Tight ends are solid. Darnell Washington's very, like, within the, I guess you say hash marks or numbers. But, he's not breaking off 50-yard games, but he's very solid within the other time that they got. I forgot his name. But it's just like they're just solid all around. And, again, like we all just laid out, if Lamar's down for 3 weeks at minimum,
it could be
Cooper Rush, I know, like there could be a real possibility that they miss the playoffs, because I don't think there's a possibility that they're winning any of those games with Cooper Rush. Derrick Henry, yes, is a great running back, but it's not even just the offensive side. Like, the defensive side was something that I entirely missed. They lost one of their I think DNs or whatever, to a neck injury. They've had other injuries. It's just not something where I think the defense is going to be fixed this year. And that's why I'm like, if they don't make the playoffs, I think Harbaugh just needs to go. And it's not because I think he's a bad coach, but it's like, dude, you've been there for a long time. He's kind of getting the treatment of like the Tomlin and just other long tenured coaches where the Steelers, they have already come out front and have been this way for years before we was even born. They're like, we don't change off head coaches. So as long as you're not going 4-10, whatever, like the record being awful, like you're going to be our head coach. The Ravens are a little bit of an institution as well, but, you know, I don't think they move like the Steelers. So to me, this is kind of unfair because this kind of maybe goes back to previous years, but even this year, like if they have a bad game, don't make the playoffs, Ian Lamar will come back. It's like, let's just do clean slate. There's other creative guys. Like, let's just give another person a chance. But outside of that, like I said, I'm not banking on the Browns to do anything. And, I mean, I hear your point, people, about the Bengals, but I just don't think they're going to go get another quarterback. That's the problem. I think they're going to stick with Browning. And if that's the case, then they're not doing anything with Browning. You know, he could prove me wrong, but I don't see it. So, with the Colts and Jags, like, the 49ers win was kind of a big deal.
That was a big win.
I'm with you. Like, I think it's a little like fluky, and it is crazy that Strange is like their go-to option. But like, they're now they're treading water in the thing of like at any moment maybe they can explode, and basically what their explosion would be is Brian Thomas gets back to form. Because if he does start to kick up, then I think we're going to be looking at them in an entirely different light. So I think there's a chance that, and I don't know when the Colts and Jags play, but I think there's a chance that by the time they do play, Brian Thomas Jr. is probably rounding into form. And then now you're looking at ETN, Brian Thomas, and Brent Strange. Like, that's a hell of a tight end, receiver, running back trio to help, you know, with Trevor Lawrence's shortcomings. And I think they could battle with the Colts.
A lot of shortcomings, Sean, to make up for.
Yeah. And at that point, if they all continue, and that's if Brian Thomas comes along, like if they all continue to be great, then you really have to ask the question about Trevor Lawrence, because you got Travis Hunter, who will be eventually getting better in his year 2 coming up next year. You got to start asking questions about like, okay, is Trevor the dude? Because we got too many guys who can get open and can break tackles, and it's just we're kind of being limited by them. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm leading with the Steelers for sure. Who you say?
They should have kept Mac Jones. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Look, he
ain't playing tremendously better than. I'm not going to do that. You think he'd be that much better than Trevor in his offense? I don't know. I think there are some quarterbacks that are just like Mac is a perfect example of he's in San Francisco. He knew Brock was coming back in like 2 weeks. I can play loose. It's different when you got to be the starter in the 16 games and they got to prepare. Like, I don't know if Mac is doing tremendously better. Now, if you want to tell me like name another confident backup could probably play better than Trevor, then I would maybe hear, not Mac, but maybe another one I would hear it out on. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Like Mariota, maybe he's a system quarterback, but Liam Combs, is he similar to Cliff Kingsbury? Maybe he's a better fit.
Mariota is the perfect backup for that system. Yeah, he's literally just an older version of Jaden Daniels. Not that he's
he's a bootleg Jaden Daniels.
Exactly.
Yeah. And some guys
they thrive off that.
Yeah, and they're good in 2 to 3 game samples. So, and that's all you want from your backup. But questions I think could be asked or answered. And I think my camera just went down, but I think questions could definitely be raised in the Colts Jaguars division. I think that's a possibility of that happening. So I don't know. We'll see. But I thought it was interesting because those were 2 teams that I was on Houston and then definitely wasn't on the Steelers. So we'll see. We'll see how it happens. But we brought up Brian Thomas a lot. Kind of been a topic of conversation on this pod, post, pre, and during the pod. So kind of wanted to start getting the guys' opinions on 2 receivers who are definitely underperformed in Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas. And which one, if you're maybe trading for them, got a little trade package for these 2 receivers, who are you buying low on, Ladd or Brian Thomas Jr.? And Zoo, you get the first crack at this one.
Don't do spite, Zoo. Don't do it out of spite.
I gotta say, these guys right now, because they're in pretty similar situations where as a rookie, they outperformed expectations. Obviously, Brian Thomas was a late first round, while McConkey was a second rounder, but both these guys had tremendous rookie year seasons. So after a great rookie season in your sophomore year, you're going to have some expectations of producing as a number one receiver. McConkey got a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. T-Law, question mark quarterback, but he balled out with Mac Jones. So a lot of people had really, really high expectations. You got LSU receiver. You got Lamb McKay coming from a smaller school, but not that big. But both these guys had expectations. And my goodness, these guys are the epitome of fantasy football 0-4 teams, 1-3 teams right now. Because if you took these guys in the second and third round, oh man, it is tough right now because you got to start these guys. That's the problem right now. You put in Brian Thomas, that's your receiver one right there. Like I doubt you have more receivers, other options outside of him. But if you got a Brian Thomas, that's just a week of 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, 5 points, mediocrity. You know what those numbers are? Waiver wire numbers. Those are waiver wire. Actually, you see this guy on waiver wire? I'm like, oh my God. Like, he's putting up waiver wire numbers. So I'm just like, Brian Thomas Jr., like, coming into this year, I'm just like, 1,200 yards as a rookie, showing dynamic big play ability regardless of QB situation, got his quarterback healthy with an offensive coach that thrived with Baker. Like, Baker Mayfield last year had a career season. So you think all these pods, the quarterback, obviously everybody's like, as much as I hate Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking T-Law over Mac Jones. Like, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence over Mac Jones. So you got a quarterback upgrade. You got a coaching, hopefully, upgrade who had a great season last year. So you're thinking, wow, they're going to have a big upgrade on offense. Absolutely not, man. Like, just watching the Jaguars offense, it's kind of painful sometimes. And a lot of times, like, Jaguars aren't on red zone that much because they don't really get in the red zone that much. They don't really deliver in the red zone either. So even when they make it, it's just like, they just don't deliver. It's most likely like Travis Etienne makes a great run and dives in. Byshal Tootin makes a great run, gets in. Because right now, Brian Thomas Jr. is one of those guys where you use high draft capital on this guy. So you got to keep on him. But his trade value right now, like, what is his trade value right now?
I'll tell you right now. I'll give you Jordan Mason for him.
Oh, my God. Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason coming into the year as a backup running back. So you're getting – and not going to lie, they're going to – think about it a little right now.
There you go.
I don't even find it disrespectful right now. I don't even find that as a disrespectful trade because as a Brian Thomas Jr. second round guy, I thought I was like, man, I got this guy with the 20th pick. I feel great about my pick. But now looking at this dude, oh my God, the production after 4 weeks is abysmal. And I'm looking at the situation like, what's going to change? What's the thing that's going to spark this offense a little more? Is it Trevor Lawrence making better reads? Is it Trevor Lawrence being a better passer? Trevor Lawrence being more accurate? Is it him getting better chemistry? Like, what is the factor that's going to change? Or he's going to have one of those sophomore slump seasons, which does happen. You have a great dynamic rookie year, sophomore slump, you fall off. You don't play as well. Maybe like his ego is like, man, this is easy. NFL is easy. And then he bounces back year 3. I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he makes that bounce back during the season right now, because my goodness, they desperately need him. Because like as you mentioned, like Trevor Lawrence relying on Brenton Strange and all these like really random like tight ends and random receivers. So you throwing a bunch of other random receivers. That's not
Parker Washington.
Yeah, Parker. Like it's not even their first round pick, Travis Hunter or Brian Thomas Jr. They're 2 first round receiver guys, which historically first round receivers produce. So like he's not even feeding those guys right now. So looking at the situation right now as a Brian Thomas Jr. shareholder, the value has lost 80% of its value right now. So you're holding a stock right now down 80%. You can sell now, but you ain't getting much back for it right now. So I'm in that position. You hold on for dear life, and you pray the regression happens because I don't think he could play any worse. Because the drops, the miscommunication,
no, you can't.
The bad body language, like everything I watched from this guy, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like was I just bamboozled last year from the big plays? Because we all remember those big plays he had last year.
Huge.
Like
the separation,
like the separation, his ability to yak after getting a catch. He's one of those rare guys. He's so big and strong, but after the catch is when he could produce amazingly. But this year, the problem is he's just not catching anything. So like he can never use his speed and his elite athleticism to produce. So right now, I am very, very nervous as a Brian Thomas Jr. shareholder. I am gonna whisper out. Look at what are you willing to offer for BTJ? I know it's gonna be kind of disrespectful, or maybe as respectable as for his performance
as it should
this
be.
year. Yeah, for his performance this year. But I'm gonna get a little peeking. But I don't think I'm gonna sell right now because this Valley right now is like I said, my 80% down right now. So I'm gonna hold on to him.
So would you still rather hold if you had both of them? Would you rather hold BT Jr. over Ladd?
Yeah, because
that's what it sounds like.
The Ladd McConkey situation is fascinating because situational wise, like we come in, great coach, great quarterback coming in. He proved himself as receiver one last year. Nobody knew this guy was going to be a receiver. People liked him as a rookie. It's like, oh, he might be a nice sleeper pick, but he showed that he was the alpha in the office. But Quentin Johnson, man, holy moly! Like we got
off of waivers.
Sean, the words right out. We got to give context coming to the regular season. I was in a 14-team league, and he was on waivers. So in a deep league, he was even on a roster. And I saw him. I remember saw him week one. I was like, Quentin Johnson's kind of interesting. Man, what was I doing?
I got 2 out of 3. I got him in 2 out of 3.
I'm like, oh my, especially in such a deep league. Like, Flyer, he's a young player because we got to look at the context of Quentin Johnson because this guy was a former first-round pick.
But he's been increasing.
Yeah. If you look at his rookie year, obviously he was a very disappointing rookie season. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, people are like, oh, this guy's a bum. This guy drops passes. This guy sucks. But if you look at his second year, as you mentioned,
touchdowns.
Steady incline. He had 700 receiving yards. He had 91 targets. He had 8 touchdowns. That's actually very, very respectable numbers for a receiver, like in his second year. So he was ascending last year. So on that trajectory, but now it's been 4 games, and this brother got close to 340 yards, 4 touchdowns. He has 37 targets. He has 37 targets in 4 games, and he's producing in the big playability. Like Justin Herbert Justin Herbert is flinging it, and he is just making dynamic plays where these draft analysts coming in as a rookie, like this was the expectations for this guy. Like he had the potential to be an absolute stud because this guy's 6'2", 208, big, strong body, really, really fast. It's just the hands in his rookie year, like he showed butterfingers in his hands. So his production, like he is the alpha of an elite offense.
Crazy.
Which is, I love it as a dynasty shareholder.
I know, it's like, oh my God. Like, who would have thought? So you got Quentin Johnson in front of Ladd McConkey. I think we all agree. If you had Ladd McConkey, you would trade him for Quentin Johnson right now.
For sure.
So
with that, not even a second thought.
Now you're like, accept trade.
Confirm.
You're trading a 3rd round, or some people took him 2nd round for a waiver wire guy. But sometimes you got to readjust your expectations because clearly all the fantasy experts completely whiffed on this, even though
including me, I was high on.
Yeah, if you look at it, he was like a young player on a good team with a good coaching staff, and he showed promise the second year. It wasn't like he went from 400 yards and 2 touchdowns to this. He's like he had 700 yards and 8 touchdowns, and he looked a lot better in his rookie year. So his production is ridiculous. And then we got to talk about the number 2 receiver because that's Keenan Allen right now. So not only do you got Quentin Johnson, receiver 1. Would you guys all agree Keenan Allen is the receiver?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think it's close either.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is
this dude is anciently old. Like he's 30 plus in NFL age at the receiver position. That is ancient, but he is producing for Justin Herbert. Obviously, they had the chemistry of playing with each other, but he just came in from the Windy City into sunny Los Angeles and just putting up Keenan Allen numbers, like kind of like his prime numbers, which is insane.
Yeah, his PPR giant.
Yeah, touchdowns, receiving yards, catches. So he's the receiver too. So if you look at Ladd McConkey on this totem pole, he's not there. He's at the bottom of the receiver totem pole right now. So
and it might not change, which is
like
depressing.
Yeah, Chargers
even if Keenan got hurt, and this is this is what I had to like. This is what I was thinking about too. We also have to take into account that Greg Roman and Harbaugh are still run first dudes. And we just saw Amari and Hampton putting on a show the last 2 weeks.
That 50-yard run was
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're saying early in the season, right? They kind of wanted to work Amari and then maybe not having Najee there too. They wanted to get the passing game going. Probably, if I were to bet, to make sure that Herbert had the confidence at the beginning of the year so that they knew they could always rely back on him come playoff time, right? If they ended up making a run. So I thought that was a great decision and one that completely goes against what Greg Roman believes in as an offensive coordinator, which is a very tall task to make a dude that's in his 60s change everything that he thinks about football and how he's always ran an offense and understand who you have at the helm in Justin Herbert. But to my point is, with that rushing attack going up, that means the number of passes that are going to be thrown is going to go only further down. And you're talking about a target share that is only going to get a little smaller. Maybe Quentin Johnson goes from 9 targets a game down to 7. He'll still probably produce. Keenan Allen maybe down to 5 or 6. Where does that leave Vlad, man? I mean, they spent solid draft capital on the guy. They're not going to completely disregard him. But Quentin Johnson, man, he's proven himself to be he's a top 6 wide receiver right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it's shocking for me to say that because I have hated the man for 2 years, except for a handful of games. But I just can't see Lad's situation getting any better, barring a Keenan Allen injury and some really good game scripts where they have to throw the ball a lot, right? Because if they can rely on Omari and as a bell cow, which they clearly can, this completely changes the dynamic of this offense. So I'm staying away from Lad. The reason I would keep Brian Thomas Jr., not to say that he's in a much better situation, but he is the person that's in front of himself right now. There's no one that is truly – I said Brenton Strange jokingly. He's the pacifier. He's the Jason Witten to Tony Romo, the Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott.
The Evan Ingram.
He's had a bum year so far, man. Let me tell you that right now. But yes, in years past, when Evan Ingram was healthy, I don't think Brenton Strange will hit that level of target share, but he is still a solid tight end. Travis Hunter, I'm sorry. If you drafted Travis Hunter over Ted McMillan in a dynasty league, you're a dumbass. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it, man. Like he's too small. I get it. He's a rookie. And look, you could say the same. Quentin Johnson, look at his rookie year. Now look at him in year 3, right? It's very possible that Travis Hunter ends up getting his feet underneath him and ends up having a solid NFL career. But he is no game breaker. I'm sorry. He's not a game breaker on either side of the ball.
He needs to just be a receiver, to be honest.
He has to be a receiver. You need to be great at one thing. There's no reason to be kind of mediocre.
Don't be a jack of all trades, man. You're not going to get anywhere and provide quality for your team. But Brian Thomas Jr., man, like, if I could buy low on him, I think he's my biggest buy low candidate right now. For sure. And Zoo, I will be talking to you about Brian Thomas Jr. the next week.
If it's Jordan Mason, I'm going to be hanging up the call.
That's okay.
That's just disconnecting the phone line.
That's just a feeler. But hey, you enjoy that Brian Thomas Jr. AJ Brown duo, man.
Oh, Jesus. I want to rip my hair off watching those guys play right now.
I'll take Michael
Pittman and
Rome Odunze over those two, man. That's insane. So, I think Brian Thomas Jr. has the opening to take advantage of. But I'm sorry, man. I ain't buying Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he is going to be the one that holds him back. Brian Thomas Jr. has had his hand in it, literally, as well, right, as with the drops and all that. But, man, there's been a couple balls that, Trevor Lawrence, he might not be the best quarterback in the league, but he's putting it where he needs to be, and Brian Thomas Jr. is not coming through on his end. So maybe Liam Cohen says, all right, if you guys can't catch the ball, I'm just going to keep running with Travis Etienne if we're 3-1. If we're 3-1, I'm not going to change too much right now. And that scares me a little bit if I'm on BT Junior owner. But with his upside, and to your point, Zoo, Lad's a he's a bit of a, I don't even know what you'd call him, like a Wes Welker type, whereas BT Junior has the big play, bust open the coverage, yak ability, and that's what you want in a fantasy football player. If you took Lad in the 3rd round, man, I'm sorry. That was too rich for my blood.
I remember that was one of my most shocking things coming in the year. I'm like, Lad had a good year, but expectations were like, he's a bona fide receiver 1. I was like, let's take it easy now. It's just 1 year, so
right. And you could say the same thing about Brian Thomas Jr., but it's the eye test for him, right? I think that's the big thing too. Big plays.
He profiles. He
He's got the metrics. Lad just isn't there yet. He might end up having a great career, especially when Keenan leaves. I think we'd have to keep that in mind. If you're a dynasty shareholder, do not take this advice as a sell on Lad McConkey. But if you're in a redraft league and this is one-off, you're in dire situation right now. So give me Brian Thomas Jr.
I just thought of something, man. I feel like I'm in a different universe where Brian Thomas Jr. and Quentin Johnson switch bodies.
I literally was going
to really. I just think I'm like what I expected. What Brian Thomas Jr. was doing is these big bombs, big playability, just producing that yak ability, and that's exactly what Quentin Johnson is doing. While Brian Thomas just dropping the ball and just not being that effective. And I just feel like these guys kind of switch roles this season. I'm just like, what is going on right now? I'm still very, very confused, especially because I still think he's a phenomenal talent, but the production is not there, and it's kind of his fault. Like some of the times it's on the quarterback, but a lot of the times I'm just like, can't be having drops. Like the number of drops is like close to your number of receptions. I'm like, that's just embarrassing.
That's old Quentin Johnston.
Yep.
It also doesn't help that, like, and I don't know how much of the narrative changes with Quentin Johnston if he's drafted in like the middle of the second round. But sometimes guys like are victims of their draft position. And I think he was I think he was the first receiver take. He was taking a spot or two over. Yeah, he was taking over Zay and Jordan. And I still, out of those, I still would probably lean Addison because it's just, I need Quentin Johnston to complete this whole season because I think Addison, if given a chance, could be a fringe receiver one because he's got giddy up, and if he had other playmakers around him, I think he'd be really, really good. But I mean, also too, we probably gotta, and I don't know how much this plays into it, but you know, Harbaugh, man, like he's becoming slowly one of the like all-time great college football head coaches and NFL head coaches, like just of all time in both like levels. He's a motivator. He's a guy who knows how to bring teams together. He knows every player's strength, and he always sticks to what he loves to do, which is run the ball. So I know we're talking about Quentin Johnston being a receiver that's trending towards being their best receiver on the team, but just the overall makeup of the team and how he formulates it, he just always seems to know what he's doing in that facet. So I want to give him his credit. But yeah, it's with Ladd, it's the path that I didn't see coming in terms of getting possibly to number 2. Like if Keenan's healthy, that's just going to be what he does. Because Keenan, again, like I was just talking about Hopkins before the pod, like they're just savvy route runners. They know how to get open. They know how to leverage DBs. They just know what they're doing on the field. So even though they're slowing down and maybe the 40 time or maybe getting in and out of breaks, doesn't matter because they know how to play the game. And Keenan on 3rd and 5 is going to get open and make a play. So to me, Ladd has that ability, but this seems very simple to say, but sometimes it's just a profile. Like Keenan's still 6'2" and whatever. Quentin Johnston's still 6'3" or 6'2 and a half. And sometimes as a receiver, or not receiver, as a quarterback, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, Justin Herbert's 6'6", so it doesn't really matter, but it's just you feel more comfortable and feel like you have a little bit more room for error when you're throwing at guys at that size. Because I honestly, if that's the only way I can think of the reason why Ladd's not being successful this year, because he's not injured, I don't think it's a situation where he fell out of favor with Harbaugh. I just think sometimes those type of receivers, the reason why they profile and they go higher is because it's just a bigger target radius. Now with Brian Thomas Jr., some could attribute it to Trevor, but then when you think about some of his classmates, like you look at Neighbors and then Justin Jefferson and not classmates, but guys who went to the same school, they all profile as having elite skills, obviously, and athletic traits. But their quarterback situation wasn't the best, and they still figured out how to get open and how to catch the ball. And there wasn't really, I mean, Malik is still early in his second year, but he didn't look like he was dropping off at no point. So, I mean, we can blame Trevor, but I think some of this is just, what's the dude, the offensive coordinator that we said that went to
Shane Waldron, man.
Yeah, like it might be.
True.
Like, now I want to say might. Like, it's 50-50. I'll give it some credence. Like, maybe that is a thing. But also wanting to give the player, he has to get some blame here. Like, I don't know if his personality, maybe it's just not as, you know, and this is awful to say, but like just receiver one type of personality where like an A.J. Brown is basically dropping hints like, I need the football and I need to score. It's great that we won the Super Bowl last year. That's awesome. But when my contract comes back up, they're going to be looking at my stats and saying, oh, you're not as valuable. We're going to pay you this and this. So, you know, maybe he needs to turn that on. He needs to put more pressure on Trevor. I don't know, but I'm obviously buying low on Brian Thomas. And just because respect to Travis Hunter, Strange, and even ETN out the backfield, Brian Thomas, if Trevor is playing the game how he's supposed to be playing it, it's going to be the number one option. I can't say that about Ladd. And that hurts to say because Ladd did everything that profiled as a guy who was going to explode this year.
Yep.
Quentin Johnston coming out of nowhere just I mean, now it's good for guys who got him off waivers, but it just literally rained on a parade of anything Ladd did. And I don't think it's Ladd did anything wrong. It's just Quentin's just having his year. Just that's the only way you can explain it. And nobody saw it. Because
it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter once again. And you could kind of like AJ Brown, they're winning. Right. Mm-hmm. I know they lost to the Giants, and we'll talk about that. You know, it is what it is. So if they're winning games, it's hard to just change the script and force.
Yeah, for real.
Right. If they were 1-3, I think they're trying new things. I think they're bringing in Trey Harris, involving Ladd McConkey more. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just the way the game goes. So maybe both of these guys turn it around, but I ain't buying one of them.
Yeah, Brian Thomas. I think for me, it's the clear answer.
Yeah,
I just always bank on that. But we'll see. Like I said, it's semi-ish early, and things can change in fantasy. That's for sure. So maybe you get lucky and buy low on both, and then you end up looking up in this second round of playoffs, and you're cooking with both of them. So I don't know. Depends on who you got on your team and who you want to trade. So Jamar Chase also could be someone you could buy low. Because I don't think that's his
value. I'm waiting for the basement to hit, and then I'll trade.
Yeah.
All I gotta say again is the curse of the consensus number one pick, man.
True.
It happens every year.
Yep. I never want the number one pick ever.
I'll take number 2.
Yeah, thanks.
But not number 1.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. But transitioning into our last topic, we'll be going into our best bets. P. Bush, how'd you do last week and what you got for this upcoming week?
Oh, Zoo finally joined one of my contests. He took home a cool second place. But your boy had to get it done, man. He had to drop a nice little 177.
Caleb got you some extra points at the end, man.
No, it wasn't Caleb, man. It was who got me the garbage time at the end. Oh, it was Brenton Strange, man.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I mean, shout out Zoo. He had the Patty Mahomes stack, but I had the better core, man. It was Omarion Hampton, James Cook, Puka Nacua, Drake London. I had that in every one of my lineups this week. The 4 core guys that I knew I had to be playing. It was a good week. I mean, you want to know the biggest hurt of the week, Zoo? I dropped the same score with Jackson Dart, but I had the Malik Neighbors combo, man. I mean, if he would have just played, man, and dropped 15, I was well into the 200 range with the top score being at about 225. So that could have been a really nice payday. The Caleb one didn't pop as much as I thought it would. Obviously, I also mentioned things like Geno Smith last week. Abysmal, staying away from him for the rest of the year. But Ashton Genty, man, he was the winner.
Oh my God, it hurt because I played him in fantasy. Oh my God,
brutal. Well, you played him and Romeo Dobbs.
Of course, he drops his nuclear game against me, man.
Him and Romeo Dobbs, man. Oof, brutal. But yeah, man, this week we're hitting. We talked about it, man. We were hitting the bye. We're hitting the bye. So there's only 10 games in the Sunday slate. It's a little bit of slim pickings. You got Lamar Jackson was supposed to be in that slate. Him being against the Texans, I am not touching that game.
Low-scoring game.
If there is one thing, the Texans are 2,400 as a defense. I think you hammer Texans defense this week. It's going to just be 17-10 type of game. It's going to be ugly. So I guess I could start right there with the defense. I also got my main man at tight end. I'm going to go up the board here. All reliable. Jake Ferguson, man. Unbelievable. 4,800.
Right now.
Playing against the Jets, that's a game to be watching. Obviously, we saw what Justin Fields can do in garbage time and when his team's down. These are 2 garbage time quarterbacks, man, and probably on similar capability levels, especially with the loss of Micah Parsons on Dallas's side and just kind of no one knows what's going on in New York once again with the Jets trying to find their quarterback within the massive carousel that's been going around the last 15 years that they've dealt with. So that's a game to be targeting. But I'm going to go back. We were just talking about it, man. I got another solid game here. I think if he wasn't playing, I would not be targeting this game. But since Jaden Daniels is starting for Washington, supposedly.
Is that confirmed?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but they said he's likely going to be playing. I'm going to caveat this. These are always my first looks. I usually end up making a few changes throughout the week as we learn more. But I love Justin Herbert in this matchup. I'll take him and I'll pair him up with Quentin Johnston. Give me that every day of the week. Washington's defense is very vulnerable, especially in the secondary. You want to take a risk and put Ladd McConkey in there? By all means, save yourself a little bit of money. But I'll take the guy that's been cooking up the league the past 4 games with Quentin Johnston. And the reason I'm going kind of cheap on the wide receiver front there is I got to get my boy Jahmyr Gibbs against Cincinnati, paying up for that one right there. You could also consider playing Goff and Amon-Ra, but the game script is not going that way, so you got to go Jahmyr Gibbs here. I like the bring back on the RB side with Trey Benson against the Titans. I know he did not live up to expectations last week. Really lost a lot to Amari DiMercato, including a touchdown in that Thursday night game against Seattle. But we just saw what Woody Marks did, and that is Trey Benson 2.0. I think he gets some solid carries at a cheap value. And then to round it out on the wide receiver end, man, give me Garrett Wilson on the bring back against the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's just feast or famine.
Cheese defense right there.
Swiss cheese, but it's feast or famine for the passing game on the Jets. I do like the tight end, the young tight end. He got a lot of good looks last night. But if I'm going with a consistent one, we know Justin Fields, as Sean likes to mention all the time, he zones in on his guy, and that's who he targets all game. So fine with that. And then I think you can pick between a few other guys. You could go Nico against Baltimore. That's, you take that risk by all means. I'm going to go with Debo as the bring back, though, man.
Back on Debo.
Let's go.
He's been great, man.
He's been great this year.
He's been fantastic. And I think if Jaden Daniels is playing, that is a caveat there. If I'm not, I'm staying away. I might even go with a little Michael Pittman Jr. against the Vegas Raiders. But if Jaden Daniels is playing, I like Debo on the bring back. They could be down in this game, forcing them to throw. And Terry McLaurin still might be out. So targeting Debo this week, man. But give me that Herbert stack. Got to come through.
It's funny how you mentioned Justin Herbert, man. Because that's my pick this week, man.
Yeah.
Before that, I forgot. Last week, I got to mention. I picked the Rams to take care of the Colts because I thought the Colts were going to have a big regression. They didn't really have that. They kind of, as I previously mentioned, they kind of got lucky at the end and was able to steal this game.
2-2 Atwell?
Yeah. Thank you, 2-2. So I'm like, gee, that run was for, I was like, whoa. I didn't see that because I was watching. I was like, yeah, it's not looking so good right now. It's not looking so good right now.
That was basically a walk-off almost.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, wow, Stafford, he's pretty clutch. That's all I got to say. Stafford looks healthy. I don't know about you guys. He kind of looks
fine.
like the same quarterback.
He looks good.
Like,
that epidural's working.
Yeah. I think that, I remember the back problems they were talking about. I guess it was overstated because right now he kind of just looks like the same guy from last year, and he's that. They're definitely championship contenders because you slide in Devontae Adams. He looks like Devontae Adams right now. That offense is absolutely cooking. So shout out to Rams for clutching it done, and Matthew Stafford in the clutch right there. But as I mentioned, Justin Herbert at home -2.5. Come on, I just got to give me a field goal in a game that's anticipated to be a little higher scoring, 47.5 right now, especially with the Chargers coming off a really bad loss. If you this is like a type of loss where people are picking the Chargers in the survivor pool league because you against a rookie quarterback. And if you look at even bigger the contest, they lost their receiver one, and they were still able to win the game. And even watching that game, it wasn't like the Giants were playing that good in the offense.
Defense.
The defense was amazing, but offensively, they got stuffed in the red zone a lot of times. And I know because I have Cam Scatterboo, and that guy just keeps getting stuffed in the red zone. He just can't shove it in right there. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, how many opportunities do you need to get 1 yard to score? So they couldn't even cash in on the red zone, and they were still able to get it done because Jackson Dart's rushing ability was able to sneak a tutty in there. But that is a really, really bad loss. This loss might haunt them because if you look at it, the Kansas City Chiefs just won the game against the Baltimore Ravens. So they're only a game back right now. I know they have the tiebreaker right now, but they're only back one game after the Chiefs with this horrific start right now, right? But Chiefs are just getting healthier. They got Xavier Worthy. Your boy Rashee Rice might be going right now. So the Chiefs are just going to be – that offense is going to be getting better and better and better right now. And right now in this situation, giving away this win – because if you were 4-0 versus 2-2, okay, you still got kind of some space right there, but – a one-game lead is absolutely nothing in the NFL right now, and I think they need to get that divisional win to secure an easier path in the playoffs right now because you don't want to lose the division to those Chiefs, especially after such a slow start. And they're only 2-2, so after that game against the Ravens, I don't think anyone's doubting the Chiefs right now of potentially even still winning the division right now, especially after this Giants loss right now. So definitely coming off of that, I think they're going to be extra focused because I think they just kind of overlook the Giants right now. they've been dominating this entire like huge divisional wins over the Broncos and the Chiefs right now. So losing to this Giants team, I think, is a wake up call. Just like, okay, like this is the NFL. Regardless of who you're playing every single day, like you could lose games like that, and that is a horrific loss. So I think against this Commanders team, where like if Jaden Daniels coming back, he's not going to be completely 100% healthy. Like he's coming back from injury, he could be rusty. So I don't think we're going to see the apex Jaden Daniels right now. So I think he's going to be a little rusty. Definitely in the first half. Definitely, like in the first half, I'm like, you got to punch this team in the face. That's the thing. You got to punch this team in the face and make Jaden Daniels try to beat you right now, because obviously he's coming off an injury. So I don't think he's going to be as run happy as he was at the start of the season right now. So I think they're going to try to protect him a little more. Like even like I feel like if Mariota played, then he will be using his legs more than Jaden Daniels coming off injury right now. So that takes away his two side of the ball of being a rusher and a passer right now. So I think that is going to limit their offensive attack. So I feel like Chargers right now in this type of game at home and only a field goal.
Yeah.
Only a field goal right now. And I think everyone still agrees, even after that terrible loss, this is still a championship contender team right now.
And that's a generous. I think that line's 4.5 to 5 if they beat the Giants last week too.
Absolutely. So I'm like 2.5 at a high scoring game where we saw that Commanders defense.
Swiss cheese.
We saw Swiss cheese. Like 34 points to Atlanta Falcons. As I remember, Atlanta Falcons, I'm pretty sure they had 0 points the week before.
To the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers. So that's just to give you context of their defense right there, because Michael Penix, that dude dropped 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a QBR of 91. Justin Herbert, this is your opportunity to dominate too, because if Michael Penix coming off his worst game of his career and able to bounce back against this Commanders defense, Justin Herbert should be able definitely to do the same. So 2.5, man, I'm kind of shocked it's 2.5.
That's a great. Right? Get it before it moves.
Exactly. Like I feel like that's a smash pick right now, Sonny.
John's like, hold on, I gotta update my 2-leg parlay.
I gotta make a little.
I was actually looking at the part of the parlay. I'm not going to include it, but I was just looking at odds on the parlay real quick, adding that Chargers plus 2.5. I didn't even know it was that low. But
your devil on your right shoulder is like, just add a third. Add a third leg.
Yeah. Last week, man, I feel like I'm getting beat at the buzzer. Week before that with the Eagles, block kick with the Rams. And then now you're looking at basically, I know there's some change, but basically a walk-off touchdown with the Rams. And
listen,
I can't be mad at it because, again, Matt Stafford is proven to be one of the most clutch quarterbacks in NFL history. But, with a lot of these bets, man, it's literally down to the last wire. So maybe you're smarter, you're fading me. But this week, I'm looking at a couple of teams. This one I feel the most confident in. The Bucs going on the road to the Seahawks, who have been playing well. But I'm just, like Zoo was talking about, I think, before the pod, Baker Mayfield is just on another level. I think he's really, really good. Mecca feels like he's just unstoppable. Maybe this is a game where he kind of slows down. But even still, with Bucky being hurt, that is an issue. But I do like Rachaad White. I like him a lot. I think he's very capable. I think he's a back who, if Bucky's out for any extended amount of time, I think he can carry the load. It's +3. I feel very good about that. I just, Sam Darnold's been okay. And, I will say, I don't know who the Bucs have, at least singularly as a DB, who can cover Smith-Njigba. But I do think that defense as a whole can rally around it. So looking at that, I think the Bucs get +3 on the road with that one. So that's one where it's like you can do the +3 or you can do the +150 and put that as part of the 2-leg parlay that I'm building right here.
I'll tell you this right now, Sean, since you're doing this, they just announced 30 minutes ago that Bucky is still gathering medical opinions on an apparent injury. So no official status yet at this point.
That sounds – what is it? Ankle? What is his thing?
Ankle/foot. And they don't know. No one really knows. So
no one knows?
They know it's his foot or high ankle sprain to foot.
Because if it's high ankle, I'm about to say he's IR eligible probably. Like if it's going to be a high ankle.
He could be out 3-4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a big loss.
Yeah, massive. I like Rachaad. Obviously Bucky is better than Rachaad White, but I do like Rachaad White. I think he can fill in confidently. And 2, this might be a game where Godwin maybe gets his sea legs back, and you don't have to just rely on Emeka being the guy. So I do like the Bucs in that game. You can do that +3 or money line. I'd be more inclined to do the money line, but over the Seahawks. And then we were kind of talking about them with Trevor Lawrence, and it's just like, look, man, Brian Thomas Jr. has been a dud. Travis Etienne has been a nice revelation. Brenton Strange is a very, very nice revelation. And, the defense is playing a little bit above their head. Now, most would say when you're looking at defense, you're like, okay, if they got takeaways, you can't depend on that, obviously. But I can only go off what I've gone through so far. And they've had around, I think, 12 or 13 takeaways this year. And I would say that's pretty high. And I would say that's something that I'm looking at like, maybe this defense is a little bit more active, maybe a little bit better than I'm giving it credit for. So now I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're coming to them. And the only reason why I looked at this game is because it's a Sunday night game. If this was a 1 o'clock nooner, 11 Central, I'd be like, whatever. It's like they'll be locked in. But we're going to see if the Jacksonville Jaguars are who we think they are. Because obviously everyone who's been watching football for the last however many years see this matchup. It's like, this is an easy Patrick Mahomes goes in there, get right game for whatever part of the season. It could be a get right game to they'll get for the playoffs, or it could be a get right game to start the season. But I do agree that when I was watching Kansas City and Baltimore, I think there's more an indictment on Baltimore because I just don't think their defense is good at all. And I think with Kansas City, looking at them the previous weeks, their offense just kind of looked okay. I know Worthy wasn't there, but Rasheed's not back yet. And still not scared of their running backs. Travis Kelce is okay. And it still kind of feels like, who was it? I think people should like Tyquan Thornton's maybe making a play down the field. Yeah, he could probably make a few plays in this particular game with the Jaguars. But I also think this game, from what I'm seeing, is at Jacksonville. So it's at night, Jacksonville. They're going to be fired up. I think the Jaguars are going to kind of come in and not say like, oh, we're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs down, but they could maybe upset them. I think they could. Now, am I thinking Trevor's going to do it? No. I think they could upset the Chiefs. I really do. Just because of the night game atmosphere. When I say upset the Chiefs in betting terms, I think they could cover the +3. But I'm not mad. Yeah, I think it's money line. I think it's only +3 on that one. Yes, +3. So I think they could keep it within that. Wow. I don't think the Chiefs go in and blow them out because I do think, and this is strictly not even. Yeah, I think for me, it's the defense. It's not even about the offense. Like, if I was making my argument that Trevor and this offense is going to be marching up and down against the Chiefs, then people would be like, well, you just don't make any sense. I'm strictly basing this on I think their defense is going to be pretty well. Even looking at that over-under, if I could scroll over, like the over-under is 46.5. So for me, I'm always
pretty high.
Full it's higher than I thought. I don't really like the offense on the Jags.
Full disclosure, I always just trend towards the under. So it's kind of like it's whatever. I always say that. It's rare that I'll ever pick the over, but for me, it's like that. I would, if you don't want to do that, you could pick the under, and I think the under for that game is at -120. But besides the point, I think this is more to me about the defense. I think this is the chance for the Jaguars to be like, okay, we're 3-1. Nobody thought we were going to be in this position. Let's see if we can compete with the Chiefs, because I'm not going to just say the Chiefs are back because they beat up a really, really bad like Baltimore Ravens defense. Because I'm looking at the other sample sizes of who they played, and they just didn't look the greatest against those teams on that. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, +3 I like. But if you want to go the money line route, I mean, obviously the odds are way more juicier. Like if you were to go +144 with the Jags and you just had, let's just say Tampa Bay money line at +150 and then Jaguars +144, that's 510. But then if you just went +3 with the Jags, +390, which I think was better than both of those are better than mine I had last week. Because the rest of these games in this slate, part of the reason why I'm picking this Tennessee, Jacksonville, it's like I'm not picking the Giants +7.5. The Broncos, I'm out on Bo Nix. Like Browns, no, +5.5. Like I said, you just got the Chargers. Oh no, that's later in the week. I'm going up. But Detroit, Cincinnati, no. Like Washington, pick them. Like Tennessee Titans, god awful. Like Arizona, I just none of them are enticing to me. Like none of these games. Like the only one I could be like, okay, I will listen is Denver versus Philadelphia, because Philadelphia has been, especially that second half where they just did not look anything like a team that could go to the playoffs.
Horrible.
I could see maybe them catching the Eagles because they're just like, it's Denver, whatever. But even with that, I just still think the Eagles, they just know how to win. So picking them against any spread, I think is dangerous. But yeah, none of the other games entice me. So it's just like, this one with the Chiefs is just like maybe night game. Like I said, if this was a 1 o'clock game, I'm staying away.
Game. It's a weird.
It's just Sunday night. The Jags are up. It's just like they'll get rowdy. You can add that to your parlay. But to me, like I said, the most confident I feel on is I think Tampa Bay will handle business against the Seahawks. You can throw in another matchup that you like or prefer. I'm just going with the Chiefs because I kind of like the odds of them with the +3 or going money line. Because then if we get to a space where the Jags end up pulling up even just the +3 or money line, then we have to have a different conversation about it because I'm banking that it's going to be their defense making Mahomes look decent. And then, well, I take that back. I'm picking this because of the defense, but it would not shock me if we came out of that game and it's like, oh, well, Trevor's getting Brian Thomas Jr. the ball now. It's a Sunday night game. He's turning up now. We're turning the page.
Man. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're prime time. Only game on. This is where all the eyeballs are on these games, right? So it makes
Zoo's gonna be glued to the television, just
I'm just
time to show up, man.
You don't show
You're
up, man. I'm gonna have to bench you. I'm gonna have to bench you, man. You're
trade him to me.
Right now.
Trade him to me. I'll take him. He just needs a change of scenery, man. That's all he needs.
Yeah, man. He's new leadership.
Yeah, come on.
He needs someone. He needs someone who's gonna.
He has cost me some weeks right now. Right.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, if you have any combination of Ladd, Brian Thomas Jr., and then you can't help the injuries of Tyreek and Malik. But even like if you have a combination of like that with a Jamar,
AJ Brown,
any of those receivers, bro, like it's been tough sledding. Yeah, it's been tough sledding.
And to think right after the draft, I offered someone Kenneth Walker for Ladd McConkey. Ah, beautiful. Thank God I did not. I know Kenneth hasn't been the best, but he's still been way better than Ladd McConkey.
Yeah,
I got laughed at that trade offer.
Yeah, bet you they're begging for that one now, but yeah, we'll see. Like I said, these parlays are always something that's going to be hit or miss, and the last 2 parlays I've had has been literally down to like the last plays of the game. So hopefully, I get a little bit more of the football guys on my side, and I can finally score on one of these. So you guys tune in for our bets every week, and for our podcast, make sure you're looking at Quantrill Knows. Any of our content, Tyson Talks _ Instagram, TikTok, putting up content all the time. Also on YouTube, we're doing shorts, so that goes on all the socials. Make sure you're locked in for that. If you're listening to our podcast, Spotify and Apple is where you will hear us. 5-star review. Make sure you give us that so we can get to algorithms with other sports podcasts. And for me and P. Bush, we are out.